Okay, I guess let's get this, I'll call the meeting to order. Is any disclosure of pecuniary interest on the Municipal Conflicts Act? I see none. Okay. Approval of the minutes. Everybody's got the minutes to go through. Any comments on the minutes? No. Okay. Do we need to have a motion on those, Devlin?
Just by consensus, Don.
Okay. Is anybody object? No. Okay. Good. Approval of the agenda. Okay, so I guess this is all the things that we're working on at the present time. And so the first one is, everybody okay with the agenda? Yes. Okay, Business Park Strategy Working Group. So,
sorry, Don, I believe that Devla did send out an amendment to the agenda with a new item on it.
Economic Development Update.
It's included there. It's the County of Wellington employment area conversions.
Oh, yeah, I've got that one. Okay. Okay, so the Business Park Strategy Working Group, and I guess I can maybe bring them up to date, or Pat, do you want to take that?
Brett and I can certainly talk to it. We have been meeting regularly with the consultant regarding the business park. We are at the stage where we've talked to them about market and location analysis. They have, surveyed the local market area on availability and price. We are now talking to them about planning, servicing issues, layout, park layout, those kind of issues. And we do have another meeting this afternoon with them, with the committee, to further delve into those issues. I don't know whether Brett wants to add any additional information to that.
Yeah, just to follow on from what Pat was saying, we have a schedule of meetings and dates when McSweeney are going to have deliverables ready for us. So we're following that schedule, which is geared towards wrapping up their work on the business park strategy by the end of June. And I think we seem like we're in a pretty good spot to be able to meet that timing. So we've been going through the work in phases. The last phase was a report on sort of market potential and things like that. So we looked at the supply in communities surrounding us, sort of ballpark numbers of what other land sales are, what kind of lot sizes we should be looking at for the business park. And then the next phase, which we talk about later today, is sort of getting into the details of concept plan, servicing costs, what our future zoning should be for the lands, what uses to allow and not allow. So we're having those, good discussions, and that's look forward to the meeting this afternoon because we have a good report.
Yes, I look forward to the meeting as well. As just so everybody knows, is the meeting we're having this afternoon wasn't really supposed to happen until May 13th. So we're 6 weeks ahead of what we were aiming at, which is great. The sooner we can get this going, the better. And we do have that meeting this afternoon, and we've got some great information from McSweeney to go through, and yeah, it's moving along.
I just want to say that these meetings with them have been really productive. We've been able to sort of think through the whole business park in a sort of very focused and way that I think they're really helping us to deal with all the details as they need to be dealt with. I was speaking with another municipality about their business park recently, and she wished that they had done it the way that we are doing it, and had thought about all of these issues up front rather than after the fact. So. Yes,
I think from what I've seen, McSweeney are very competent, and they do this stuff all over the province. So they know what they're doing. And I think that's why we're ahead of schedule, is because they can draw on their experience in other communities. So it's really, really good. Anybody got any questions on that at all? Yes, Mayor?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up. I'm really happy that we have them. I mean, it's really clear from our conversations with McSweeney, Eric in particular. He just knows what he's doing, and it's so great that we're doing this right, because you know, we're doing something new here, and making sure that we're doing things in the right way. And he's bringing things to the table. A lot of good interaction in that subcommittee meeting. Really positive and really solid advice we're getting from them, and very practical. And that's why I was so pleased to have McSweeney come and help us, because they just they just have the same culture as we have, and that's, you know, figuring out some real practical action on what we can do to do it right, but do it as fast as possible. And they're really balancing that off, and I'm really pleased with how we're working with them, and how they're you know, ticking off the boxes on the things that they said that they would do with us. And I'm really positive about what, at the end of the day, what this is going to be like, this business park is going to be like, with making sure that we're setting it up right and doing the foundation of this right. So I just wanted to make sure that the committee here knows that they're working really well with us and doing excellent work.
Yes, and I agree 100%. It's Eric made a comment at the last meeting. He says, I can feel the energy in the room of wanting to get this done, right? And it was pretty cool. Okay, anything else on that? Anybody? Economic Recovery Working Group. Sally. Can I get you to explain the two things you're working on? No, the two things that you have taken control of and are doing a wonderful job of.
Sure. Number one, hello everyone, sorry. First one on the list is the Google My Business workshops. So we have got some funding through the County of Wellington for that. And we are going to be rolling that out early next week. We have the registration all set up. These workshops there's sort of three ways to access them, two different workshops. One is the beginners workshop and one is the advanced. The whole premise behind this is not enough businesses, or not a lot of businesses, have claimed their Google My Business listing, which is a free resource. And then the second part is those who have claimed may not have taken it one step further and further understood everything that you're able to do with that. So we have a team of speakers recommended by Christelle from the Business Center, and they are going to facilitate these workshops for upwards of 15 people live at the end of, we're going to do the last Tuesday of the month in April, May, and June. Businesses will be asked to pay a small sort of honorarium, I guess the wrong word, but a small fee of $25, and then we're using the funding from the County of Wellington to further support that. The other piece of this is the session is going to be recorded. So if someone is almost there and just needs that, you know, kick over the ledge, they can access the recording and work through that. And we will actually have the recording of all three of the sessions. As the way the facilitators explained it to me is, if by chance there's not a restaurant on the first call, the recording of that call isn't going to be very helpful for restaurants in the future. So we will we'll record all of them and then have them available for people and be able to encourage them to download the one that's going to make the most sense for them. And accessing those recordings is going to be free. So again, to all businesses in Center Wellington and open up to the county as well. And then the last sort of piece of this whole project is, again, through Christelle at the Business Center, we have access to her digital Main Street experts. They right now are diving deep into all the businesses of Center Wellington and triaging where each of them are at on Google, and then are going to be an outreach arm for us to reach out and have conversations with these businesses, to recommend the workshop if that's going to be a great fit for them, to offer one-on-one support if that's the level they're at, or to provide them with the recording or any guidance necessary. So that is project number 1. Did I miss anything, Christelle? I don't think so. Any questions?
Yeah, I think just if everybody just ever goes to, sorry, Google Maps, you bring it up and there's only about 1/3 of the businesses actually have a Google page. And so if you're looking up a business, you want to see who's on the main street, you're only going to get a very small fraction of them. So this is to try to get everybody as much as possible on Google Maps, and you get 1 page free. And it's I think it's a great initiative, and Sally and Crystal have worked together with it, and Peter. It's just a great initiative. It's going to produce results for years.
I just want to mention too that we did receive $5,000 worth of funding for from the county to be able to put forward this series of workshops, and which is probably more than most others are going to receive, just because of the way we're doing this workshop. Actually, doing it with individuals and then making it available to others throughout the county afterwards is it's going to be a big benefit to everybody.
It's huge, and it's going to go for years.
Dawn, can I just point out that
Yes,
Digital
Crystal.
Main Street gave us the extension on this to help with this project. So that's where the monies came to pay for those people. And they'll be here till basically mid-June. And then I'm hoping that if Sally gets a student that can then continue on with the work, then that would be great. Unless we get word that they can continue on, we'll see.
So Crystal, at the present time, this whole thing is Center Wellington focused, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I have, well, yes and no. I have 2 people, Dawn. I have somebody working in Guelph, doing Guelph Google, but I also have Brendan, who's dedicated to Ferguson and Laura, and he's spending all of his time. Pat
Good.
knows him. He was the one who started it in the first place. So he will be spending all his time in Ferguson, Alora.
Yeah. Anyhow, that's great, guys. And thank you, Sally and Crystal and Peter, for heading that up. I think it's a great program that's going to be beneficial to our community for a long time. So good. Congratulations. Yeah. Okay. So second part, Sally.
Number 2 on the list is our welcome home to Center Wellington project, which is a digital welcome wagon that we are in the process of building. Lots of activity on that will be happening in April. But in short, we are going to host a webpage on our website. Businesses will be able to opt in to provide information, to provide coupons, to just promote themselves to new people coming to Center Wellington. And we will populate that with a variety of information, few videos from key people such as the mayor, and that will serve as that digital welcome wagon. We're going to have an item. We are thinking likely a notepad or something of that nature that we will ask realtors and builders to leave in homes of people new to the community. So new buys, new builds. The idea being that there's some longevity there in the item that we're leaving. It will have a little bit of information, nice little logo that we've been working on, and then the link to where all the resources are held. Stays around on the counter or in the junk drawer maybe until it's used up. Just that constant reminder that these resources are there for people. And the hope obviously is that they take a look at the website and find out things they maybe didn't know about the community, access, resources and businesses that they need to access. So that's the plan on that. We will be rolling it out, as I said, through April in terms of getting involvement from the businesses, the realtors, obviously, and then we sort of, once we have enough information, we'll just go live with the site, and then we can always add and change and flip-flop things as needed as things change.
Great. Thanks, Sally. Just a little background for everybody else. We have about 1,000 people move into Center Wellington a year with the current, all the activity going on, building and all that stuff. And through this group, we found out that, and Peter had some of this stuff, people buy whatever groceries, whatever they want, where they work. And so there's been a real shift of people working from home. So the idea of this thing is to try to get people to, instead of those people going back to where they used to work to shop, is to try to get them to shop in Center Wellington. That's the goal, is to change their shopping patterns and get them into Peter's store and everybody else's stores to shop here. That's sort of the root, the background on it. Do you have anything else on that one, Sally?
No, you summed up the route so well. I focus so much on execution, Don. We're such a great team.
Yeah, does work out good. Okay, I guess that's yes, Neil?
Yeah, I just wanted to let people know that, you know, spread the word around local businesses, because during this pandemic, a ton of people have actually moved to Center Wellington. And so but they're working from home now as well. So they are working, you know, where they live now, and they're going to shop there, but they really are unaware of what services are available here. And so we need to talk it up as much as anybody else. I mean, I'm looking at Dennis on the call now thinking, how many of these hundreds of homes that have been built in Fergus and people have moved in and they don't know the brew house. And that's why the businesses have to jump on Sally's program here and make sure that people understand where they live and what's available to them. It's almost like local tourism planning.
Yes, exactly.
That's a perfect segue for Sally to talk about the coupon book.
Yeah. Okay, Sally.
Thank you.
Boy, am I ever glad you're on the committee.
I do have to hop off at 9 too today, so you've got me early today. The coupon book is complete, and we are now waiting for it to work its magic and drive people into these businesses. And I think partially based on the uptake on that, it makes us optimistic for the uptake on this digital welcome wagon type program. We had close to 100 businesses participate in this coupon book. It was free for the businesses to participate. Pretty even split between business card ads and coupons. Again, not every business lends itself well to a coupon, so we offered that business card ad option there. So it's a 12-page full color. It's coming out with the advertiser today, last night if you were lucky. And then we're going to do a little bit of an accompanying social media campaign, putting some faces to the businesses for people, business owners coming on video and thanking people for supporting local. And we're sharing that again with the just the message that if you didn't receive a coupon book in the mail and you want one, we can get you one. We've got a digital copy. The coupons don't expire until end of December, which was a decision made several months ago when we didn't really know what the rest of the year looked like. So give as long as possible for people to get in to redeem. And again, it's designed to remind people that these businesses are here, educate that the businesses are here, encourage them to participate and visit these places with various offers. There's a wide range of offers, anything from free socks with a pair of Blundstones, which we're all cashing in at Shootopia, to Dennis did a deal, can't remember what it is, but I've already clipped the coupon. So there's such a wide range, and from a variety of businesses as well. So we're really pleased with the uptake. We're really pleased to be able to offer this to businesses free of charge. We received a grant through Innovation Guelph and then some support from the township. Thank you. So yeah, it looks really great. I will put the link in the chat to the digital copy of it. It may or may not work. It's been a bit finicky. If you'd like to see a digital copy, shoot me an email. And then I'm expecting a pile of leftover hard copies to be dropped off today as well. So if you need some of those, do let me know. But yeah, really, really pleased with the impact this is hopefully going to have. We're going to ask the business owners to collect some data on that too. So we know how many people redeem. Oh, Janet showing off.
Woohoo! I just want to mention that there are the township does have 2 full-page ads on supporting one is on supporting our local dining, and the other one is supporting our local retail businesses or just supporting local. The supporting local one is actually a bit of a challenge. It's asking people to go out and support at least their 3 favorite businesses, because if you do that and you spend an additional $50 a week, you can support a whole lot more businesses in Center Wellington. So
good. Peter?
I'm hoping that message gets out.
Yeah, I just, Sally, do you want us, it looks wonderful digitally. I saw it this morning. It really is a nice, well done production from you and from Wellington Advertiser. But from the digital platform, like I have an email list of 10,000 people with Shootopia. So do you suggest, or should we put through a campaign that each of us that has any sort of substantial email list be blasting this particular digital copy out to our clients for those that may not see it in the injection of the Center Wellington Advertiser? Do we want to sort of somehow put a little bit of a campaign around the idea that this can go out digitally to everybody as well? No.
That's a great idea. There's certainly no harm in spreading it out digitally. We're not locking it up behind a lockbox or anything like that, the digital copy. And we've talked about before, the onus is on the business owners to stop me from redeeming a Brewhouse coupon every day for a month, or not. Dennis, please don't. The more people that see this, absolutely the better. So I have an email going out to the businesses today to again remind them that it's coming out today, to ask them to collect a little bit of data if they can on the redemption piece. I will link, as I said, this link isn't perfect, so I might do a link on my own here for the digital piece and ask people, yeah, if you're happy to share, we're happy for it to be shared, especially to 10,000 of your closest friends, Peter.
Yeah, I just think that any of us that has any list, I mean, most of us in business have a list of some kind, that we've been collecting over the years. It's our most valuable asset that we have. So why would we not want to share this so that all the other people in our community are going to get that if they don't see? Because not everybody in my list, for sure, probably only half of the people on my list actually get the Wellington Advertiser. So,
yeah. And I should say this went to postcodes in Elora, Fergus, Bellwood, and Arthur with the Advertiser. So it's about 12,500 people that, knock on wood, should have received it. But yeah, I think we can do those digital campaigns, and maybe we have a plan to not do them all this week and spread them out over the next 4 to 6 weeks to keep the momentum going on this. I think I'll write that in the email and we'll connect on that. That's awesome. Thanks, Peter.
Cool. So Sally,
Yes, Don.
I've also got a very large list of campers. I don't know how many thousand are on it. Are we looking to spread it to that kind of clientele as well?
Sure, let's do it. The coupons are good till December 31st. So let's get your campers coming into town to see the businesses. I think that's a great idea.
Okay. Yeah.
This is where we can get some real magnification of the work that's already been done through everybody's lists. And I think if anybody else on this call knows somebody that has any sort of list, whether it's 100 people, 300 people, or 15,000 people, I think that's going to really magnify it, because not everybody every week opens the Advertiser, and this is just a way that's going to, like, people that go to Don's place are our customers, right? And our clients, and they're spending money in this area when they come in on the weekend and stuff like that. So that's exactly, in my opinion, what we want them to do. They're not getting the Wellington Advertiser, those people.
No, that's right. We do in season, the Wellington Advertiser does bring probably 100 and maybe 125 of them every week, and they're gone in like minutes. So
I've made a note, actually, when we do another one, which we should print you some.
Yes. Yeah. We could have them sitting on the counter at the front.
Yeah. We've had some lessons learned through the process, but I'm really pleased with what it looks like and where it's going to spread to. I think it's going to be good. And as I say, we do have plans to do another one at some point. So.
Yeah.
Sally, I do hear that the program that you got that funding from could be getting additional funding for additional kind of programs like that. So we might want to put our heads together and see what we can come up with.
Yes, I don't know if they'll fund the exact same project twice,
No,
but I mean, we can always ask.
Okay. Anyhow, I'd just like to say something that I'd like to thank everybody that's on that committee. It's really great. The ideas pop up and we all work off each other. It's really it's a very creative group that are together, and we've come out with some really neat stuff. So anyhow, thanks to everybody. And okay, so I guess the next part, anything else on that, anybody? No. Yes, Pat.
I just want to mention that council approved our patio, sidewalk, cafe, and display policy on the 22nd. And as of today, I believe there are most of the people who had patios on public property have submitted applications for that. And we were prepared to let them open as of tomorrow. Unfortunately, with the lockdown, I don't think that's going to happen. But we have been ready and well in advance of the season, and they will be ready when it's allowed again. So.
Well, once again, thank council for us, because that's all really good community building stuff that's going on here. It's great. All we gotta do is get it open to get out. Yeah. Kim, did you have something? No? Anybody else? Okay, let's move on to the next one. County of Wellington Economic Development Update. Mayor Kelly.
I don't have a whole lot to date the group on. Pat already mentioned about we're getting the 5K to supplement that one program, so that's great. And there's a planning document that I think either Pat or Brett are best to talk about rather than me in the package today. Yeah, so I don't really think that the county's done anything. I mean, one thing I'll mention is Ridewell. Is the numbers for Ridewell are going up, which is really good. Now with the lockdown, who knows? But we're going to get. It looks like we might get some more money for that service, so we will have to make sure that we leverage that with this economic development committee and moving people around to do shopping or do whatever. We want to start to promote that because we got some really good kudos from the federal government about this being a very innovative transit solution, a shared ride transit solution for rural communities. And we're being seen, the county's being seen as being very innovative on this front. And I think there's going to be a lot of rural communities who are going to copy what we're doing when it comes to Ridewell. It's had a few with COVID. It's really thrown a wrench into plans because obviously you're in a car and the county own the difference between Ridewell and Uber is that the county owns the vehicles and they pay the drivers. So it's a little bit different than Uber, but other than that, it's a very similar process where you book online. There's no cash payment. Everything is done. Everything is done virtually. So once we get going with this, I think it's going to be really, really good. But we've had obviously COVID has messed things up a bit. But we were just starting to see the rides going back up. We're starting to market quite a bit. And now if we're going to get more funding, this is something that we can really leverage as something that gets people right directly from point A to point B without any kind of stops in between. And now what different than at the beginning of Ridewell is that you can go from any point in Wellington County to any point in the city of Guelph. And it used to be we dropped you off at the bus station in Guelph, and that was terrible because then we had to coordinate with Guelph Transit and all that kind of stuff. So it's it's really good, and we just have to make sure that we're leveraging that. And other than that, I don't really have too much else to add to that.
Okay. Has anybody got any questions of Kelly on that? No. Okay, information items. County of Wellington employment area conversions. And I guess, Brett, are you going to take this one?
Yeah, sure. I'll do the best I can. The part of the growth plan and the provincial policy statement planning, the county is in the middle of what's called the Municipal comprehensive review of their official plan. And that's scheduled to, I think, wrap up in 2022. And as part of that process, just so everyone's aware, over the last several years, we've had really, as long as the growth plan has been in effect, we have pretty stringent policies at the provincial level to protect employment land from being converted to something that is not employment. So for quite some time, we've had policies that make it very difficult for someone, for example, to take a piece of industrial land and turn it into land for housing. But given the shortage of housing availability, I think the province in the latest growth plan has made provision for people to ask for their employment designated land to be converted to another use. But in that process has to go through the MCR exercise, which in our case is at the county level. So one of the requirements that the county has to do as part of its official plan update in the MCR is to create a policy and a framework for evaluating requests to convert employment land to a different use. And so that's what this policy is all about that you see in front of you. It's part of that requirement. The county's also shared with us that there's a submission guideline that's also been created. It's not included in your package here. And that is in the event that we know of property owners or the municipality itself might wish to have land converted, then what the submission guidelines that the county is going to require. In our case, because we know that we're very short on our availability of employment lands, which the county has reviewed the definition that's in the growth plan of what employment area is. And they've concluded that that matches up with lands that are actually designated industrial. Because we're short in supply of that, we don't anticipate that there's any land that we would want to convert from employment because we are in such short supply. So, but we know that there may be other municipalities in the county that might have, think they have surplus lands for employment and they could be converted to another use depending on their growth rate. So I don't foresee that we will make any request to convert land because, as I say, because we are in short supply, but there's a process that has to be followed. It looks like the county in some of the language here has talked about a deadline of May the 1st. So there's a technical advisory committee established and Andy and I both sit on that and there's a meeting coming up. I can't remember exactly when, but anyways, for the record, this is here for information, but I don't foresee that we would have employment land that we want to convert. We really can't afford to.
Okay, thanks, Brett. Yeah, it's interesting. You look around at what we have for employment lands, and there really isn't a lot. The biggest thing is trying to get some of them online. Yes, Janet?
Previously, when we reviewed the employment plans and when they've looked at the land needs assessment, and I guess this is somewhat in the report, but I'm just kind of looking for clarification. Center Wellington was always identified as not having enough of the industrial employment land, and now we've obviously are moving ahead with developing some on our own, but from a county-wide perspective, because it's included as a county perspective, but we know that a lot of the movement of people is going to be to Center Wellington. So I guess my question would be either to Brad or Kelly, like when they're reviewing the land needs assessment, are they also adjusting that land needs assessment to where the growth is going to be taking place? Because they haven't always done that in the past. I wondered if that's part of this calculation.
Yeah, I think Brett can speak to it in more detail, but I know that there's been some discussions about growth rates because it's not there's a few things that might happen. One, Erin is pushing really hard to get their town service with water and sewer. So they're wanting a lot more growth than with what was initially slated for Erin. And they're moving ahead on that. So I've had conversations with the mayor there, just to figure out if Center Wellington can give them some of our growth numbers. So those discussions are happening, and the county will take things into consideration. And that's very much part of the process that they're going through right now. And employment land is a part of that equation. So from a political standpoint, that's my perspective. So some of the and it's not just Erin. Mapleton is interested in growing their employment lands. Wellington North is interested in growing theirs, and so is Minto. They're obviously they're wanting growth in this area, so that's going to be a big part of the discussions as the county goes through that process.
Thank you, Kelly. One of the things, just a little tidbit, the business park group, the McSweeney, Eric McSweeney, stated that once we get the park ready to go, he figures it'll sell out in 2 years. So it's it's up to us and the township to sort of get ahead of that and try to get our planning out further. But it's anyhow, we're going to have some land to sell, so it's going to be good. Okay, Healthy Growth Advisory Committee update. Who's on that? Kelly, do you want to do that? Do you want me to do it?
I'll do it quick, and you can fill in anything, Don. We have a really good group. It reminds me a lot of this group, a group that really wants to be action oriented. And so we have a great group together. We have Councillor Van Leeuwen will be taking Councillor Foster's place on that committee starting next week. Councillor McCrae is very involved in that, so it'll be the three of us that are taking a lead. One councillor from Fergus, one from Elora, and myself. Really, really high quality individuals there. And we really want to move forward with a couple subcommittees there. We want to be focusing on providing recommendations to council about what we can do as a township to increase the supply of attainable housing within Center Wellington. Healthy Growth has identified that as their #1 priority, and I like that because it's one of my priorities. And from an economic development standpoint, that means a lot because we can't be doing all the things that we're doing here in economic development and promoting businesses if people can't afford to live here. So the two things go hand in hand. That's why we have Don there as a member of Healthy Growth, to make sure that he's bringing the economic development perspective to the table. So we're doing some good work. We have a work plan that we're going to start to focus on one item at a time and move that towards a very clear recommendation that will go to council, and move ahead with a couple subcommittees there to make sure that the members have an opportunity to really dig in and do some work in behind the scenes to support our staff and provide a really good community and citizen perspective to things. So I think you're going to start to see some real good work. We had a few slow months in the last three months just to kind of get our bearings and to make sure that we're in the right space. But I think what you're going to be seeing is a clear attainable housing target put forward by this committee, and some real clear recommendations for practical actions over the next few months to get some real traction there and to start to make a difference. I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about the team that we have, and I'm expecting good things.
Thank you, Kelly. I agree. It's a great group from all kinds of perspectives in the community. The attainable housing section, we are starting next week. We're down to actually defining it and starting to set our goals. So we're sort of on the edge of being able to roll stuff out yeah, it's really, really good. Stuff that comes to healthy growth, like we had a presentation by Colin Baker of the township on David Street, and we had a really good discussion on that. So we sort of saw it after it was presented to council, and then we saw it, and then it got released to the public. So anyhow, we had really good input on it, and that's the sort of thing that we get involved with, and I think it's a great setup that you've got people from the community having sort of a high level input on some of this stuff. I think it's really good. Okay. Anything else on that? Yes, Brett?
Just to add quickly on the St. David Street North conversation, I'm not directly involved, but the managing director of infrastructure services, Colin Baker, gave some of the rest of staff an update, and we've had over 800 submissions on that project from the public comments. So it's pretty phenomenal, the process that was gone through, you know, introducing it at one of our advisory committees and then to council, and then putting it out there. And we've had a significant amount of public consultation. So that's great.
It's really good. It's a big project, and it's you know, very key to the community. And with St. David Street being such a main artery, there's things you can do with it, and there's things you really can't, because it is still a major artery. But it's a really good process that it's going through. And boy, 800 people, holy smokes. I would have never thought that. Anyhow, next thing, Pat, I guess economic development update.
Nothing other than, or not anything really more than what I've put in writing, but just to say that I'm happy to say that work with development projects has been ramping up for me quite a bit this year. So, and happy to help those businesses, you know, achieve the expansions and growth in Center Wellington that they want to do. And we have some interesting projects that we know are coming up, and some may present some challenges, but we're definitely seeing some really interesting things happening in Center Wellington.
Yes. The only one I'm really concerned about, I see the beer stores for lease. Does that mean we don't have a beer store anymore?
There are some options that they're looking at for that property. I think the beer store will remain in its current location, but there are some options that they're looking at for additional use of that property.
Yeah.
So,
and that makes sense, but it's I saw the sign up there and I was like, really? Anyhow, Neil, did you have something you want to say on that?
I think your beer's safe, John.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say your beer's safe. I went in as soon as I saw the sign up, and I talked to the manager of the store, and it's an expansion to the building and the property for new businesses to come in. And of course, I shook my head a little bit because, you know, on a Friday afternoon, you can't get in there with the guys dropping off empties and people trying to pick up beer. You add businesses to there's going to be some major redevelopment. But the beer store is safe. We should put out a press release to say that our supply of beer in Center Wellington is safe.
Yeah. Janet, did you have something on that? No? Okay. Yes, Brett.
We do have a local brewery company here that likes to can beer too, so we should be okay.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to make sure everybody's happy. And by the sounds of it, we're going to really need it here in the next month. Yes, Brett.
I was just going to add, for the information of this committee, while we have the economic development report, one of the things that council approved on Monday night was an agreement with the property owners who own land in the south end of Fergus, the South Fergus secondary plan area, which, as you all know, is where we anticipated a significant amount of our future employment land or business land will come, is in the south end of Fergus, and council signed an agreement or authorized signing an agreement for those secondary planning studies to get underway. So that's going to be moving ahead too. So that's good news.
is there a timeline on that, Brad?
I think late 2022 for the secondary plan part to be done. I mean, even after that, there's a lot of work to negotiate to actually get the sewer and water there. So can't say when there will be any actual development of those lands, but definitely it's an important step to get moving with the studies. We first started looking at it back in 2018. So it's taken us to now to get the studies actually rolling.
Right.
Is that the properties that are north of Second Line, like in between Reliable and down there, or whereabout? Is it south of Second Line, or?
Yeah. Go ahead.
It would be, it's basically everything from Guelph Road on the west across to Scotland on the east and bounded by Second Line in the south. So
I think it was,
a few hundred acres of land.
I think it's about 370, something like that. So it's a pretty big chunk. Some residential, some employment. So it's anyhow, it's good. So what else we got here, guys? Just a minute here. Just reading some notes. Okay, that gets us through the agenda. Has anybody else got anything pertinent to the group? Next week.
Yeah, Don.
Yes.
You can hear me. Good.
Yep.
What's going on with high-speed internet introduction to the rural areas? Because I'm having real trouble doing Zoom meetings because I got no broadband.
Yeah.
And it's not planned for my street.
Yeah. So I watch as I drive around the community and I see the drill rigs all over the place. And Cogeco is running a line on County Road 18 right now. And a company by the name of NetFlash actually has one on the other side of the road already.
I'm on Jones baseline at Nichols 6th line.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. I don't drive over there very often, but if you're driving around, you can see they're at it everywhere. They're going to do County Road 19 shortly, I believe.
Yeah,
they're laying everything out all the way to Fergus. So it is coming out here. I'm not at that end of the town.
Yeah. Well, don't drive down Jones baseline because it's a mud pit today.
Yeah, I bet you it is. But it's you'll start seeing the drilling rigs. So they're trying to. It's like a tree column. You have to put the main lines in first, and then they head out from there. So
did I just hear this a couple of days ago that the province is putting more money out for broadband?
Yeah.
So I want to be on that lot for sure.
Yes, Janet.
Sorry, when I talk about internet, I gotta. I don't want to see Kelly's face because I think he's tired of hearing me say this. But we actually, I had a call through the Federation yesterday with Randy Pettipiece, and one of the big discussion points we talked about was broadband, and not even the fiber in the ground broadband, because and the adage of internet down every driveway, but also down every laneway, because there's still a lot of people in the rural communities that don't have access, and it's coming. I jokingly say, like, I feel like Sarah Palin, I can see it from my kitchen window, but I just don't have it yet. So because it's a concession west and a concession north of me. But the big thing we talked about was some of the towers that have gone up. Like ExploreNet has put up a few new towers in our municipality. And one of them is one concession away from me. I saw it go up the crane last July when we were doing field work, and it is yet to go live. So the tower is there, the lights are on, and my understanding is it's a CRTC backlog to flip the switch to be able to utilize it, which would really help with some of the bottlenecking that's happening. So we have a call out to Mike Chong, because that's a federal initiative, to find out what the bottleneck is and where the bottleneck is, because we're still not really clear on that. And if that tower can get flipped on, because that's the people that bounce off of the Fergus Tower, that right now is one of the big bottlenecks. So that in itself may help. So when I know more about that, I can bring that back to the committee.
That'd be great. Thank you, Janet. So Colin, yeah, it is coming. It's, I don't know what the schedule is. I don't even know where the heck you'd find it, what the schedule is. But
Is that a township initiative or a county?
Brett, do you have an answer on that one? Andy does.
Yeah, so it is, so SWIFT is looking after all of southwestern Ontario. The county works with them. Kelly sits at the table with the Western Wardens. And so the funding basically comes out through SWIFT to various companies. They put various tenders out for services based on the funding they get from the provincial government and the federal government. So it is coming. There's been a ton of work all over southwestern Ontario, but it's just a lot of area to cover all at once. So it will take a number of years, but SWIFT has done an amazing job, specifically in Wellington County over the last 2 years. I know for those in the rural area that don't have it, kind of say, no, they haven't. I don't have it, but the amount of area that we've covered, that SWIFT has covered in Bellwood, in Inverhaw, and some of the other smaller areas, it's just then getting to, as Janet says, the towers and to the other parts of the community. So there is lots of money coming. It's going through SWIFT, and the county works with SWIFT to ensure that we get as much of that going down our roads as we possibly can.
Yeah, well, my heart surgeon said my new valve is only good for 15 years. I'd like to have broadband by then.
Yeah, so just to add on what Andy said, so there's new money that's come out from the federal government and the province, like millions and billions of dollars. So in our area, that'll flow. SWIFT is the kind of the company that's been pulled together by all the jurisdictions in southwestern Ontario. And so we've put in a proposal to the federal government and the province to have that money flow through SWIFT. And so that's the tack we're taking. So it's called SWIFT 2.0. And the difference between 2.0 and 1 and the first initiative is the 2.0 is to get it to those really rural properties that the big guys don't care about that much. So it's using smaller providers, not the Bells, not the Rogers, not even potentially the Kojikos, or moving to smaller providers who don't need that much that many people to connect to make it worth their while. So that's where we're going right now. There is money there. It's just a matter of leveraging the SWIFT model to get that going. So things are moving now faster than they've ever moved before. It's obviously not fast enough for people because they want it. They understandably want it quickly because, you know, especially during COVID, you really realize how disadvantaged you are if you don't have high speed. So I think there is that that's really provided a little bit of urgency to the federal government and the provincial government to work. And so SWIFT is on it for our area. The county has put significant amount of money. I think it's over $4 million, and it flows through SWIFT. So we're not doing things on our own. It's with the other 18 or so other municipalities. So that's kind of how it's working, and that's how we've been able to pool enough money to bring our share to the table. And the feds have a share, the province has a share, and then the private industry has a share. So between those four is how we're developing a business case to make it worth everybody's while to actually go into the rural areas. So it's a really good model, and it's starting to get traction, and hopefully COVID provides that urgency. In the next couple months, we'll be able to demonstrate new projects coming to the table. So it is good. I'm not sure when they have your address there, Colin and Janet, on their agenda, but it is coming, and that's the way the county is doing it, is through SWIFT.
You know, I at least have a DSL modem, and it works partly, but I got neighbors who are still on dial-up.
Yeah.
Because they're, you know, more than 4 kilometers from the exchange. that's an issue for them. But anyway, you guys are working on it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Okay, Janet, yes.
Just another aside of that, the provincial government just passed a regulation allowing the companies to put these fiber lines on hydro poles to try to kind of reduce red tape. So in the rural areas, that is a real benefit. And the one really interesting piece, which I think is, again, kudos to our municipality, is all these hydro poles are engineered as far as how many lines and weight and height and everything, that it's quite complex, apparently, what you have to do to engineer a hydro pole, but to be able to add wires to it if it's fiber for internet. But the interesting thing, the proprietary software in doing that was developed by UTS and Fergus, and apparently it's used across Canada. So I think that's pretty cool kind of stat.
Cool. Neat to see business in Fergus getting fame like that. It's good. It's good technology. Okay, is there anything else for economic development before we retire it? I don't see anything, so I'll call the meeting to a close. Next meeting is May the 6th. Anyhow, thank you to everybody. It's great. There's lots of, I know there's lots of stuff going to happen around town. There's all kinds of projects that are in the process. It's really cool. It's really neat.